Thank you. Now, my notes, whoops. So now I lost my notes. Okay. So, the Sephirot that we've been talking about funnel down into Yesod, and they bond together, forming our foundation. So we have Chesed at the right shoulder, loving connection or loving kindness, and Gevura at the left shoulder, which is strength or discipline or wise action. And they're in dynamic tension with each other. And then they come together at the heart space with Tiferet, creating balance and harmony. And then at the right hip, we have Netzach, which is an energetic outward movement. It's the energetic response in dynamic tension with the left hip, which is Hod or humility or gratitude or kind of a letting go. So those are also having this dynamic tension. They balance each other and they come together at the pelvis or the genitals, depending upon which system you're reading. And they're all integrated together. So this is all funneling down, creating our foundation. And foundation is the basis for any solid, stable structure. So if we think of building a house, we recognize that that house needs a stable foundation. But the foundation needs to be different depending upon the environment and the circumstances. If I'm building a house on sand, that needs one kind of foundation. A house that's built on bedrock needs a different kind of foundation. Just like if the building is being built in a floodplain or in an earthquake zone. So the foundation has to be solid, but it also has to be adjustable and adjust to a situation. So this is part of what's happening. All of the Sephirot are funneling down into our foundation, which we have developed with our core values. So I don't want us to miss the fact that our core values are part of this foundation that we're building, and they've been informed by these other various Sephirot. The other really important piece of this personal foundation is emet, or truth, which is associated with Yesod. We have to acknowledge the truth of the situation rather than ignoring it or hiding from the truth. So if I'm building, I need to have the truth of what am I building on? And in terms of my own being, I have to be able to look at the truth of a situation that I'm in, and marry that, bond that with my core values. And this combination of truth and my core values creates the framework, the foundation for my ethical decision-making and my ethical living. So when we practice Yesod, we need to bring our attention to experiencing our groundedness, our foundation, and a foundation that's providing both internal stability and the capacity to be receptive and adaptable, depending upon the circumstances and what's going on. So today, as we bring our attention to Yesod, I'm hoping that in our sit, we will really bring our attention to our foundation, both physically and spiritually. So I invite you to take your seat. And if you're sitting in a chair and you have your feet on the floor, I want you to really feel your feet on the floor and maybe stamp your feet up and down a little bit. Just really feel that floor under your feet. And really sink into the chair or the cushion that you're sitting on and feel your bottom. Paying attention to your foundation as you sit. So you may want to reach behind you and lift the skin of your buttocks so that you can really feel your sits bones. And now feeling firmly grounded, and lifting from the pelvis, elongating your spine. And you may notice that this very firm foundation allows for greater movement and physical ease. So I invite you to play a little bit and imagine that you're dancing. Just move from your waist while your sits bones are staying firmly planted. Just see how much flexibility you can bring into your body so that you can be both grounded and flexible. And just do this for a moment. Just noticing that you can move. And now coming back to some sense of stillness. I invite you to take a couple of cleansing breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. So inhaling as deeply as is comfortable, holding that for a moment, and exhaling fully and slowly through your mouth, and maybe with a little sound. And one more time. And so as we're bringing our attention to Yesod, we can feel really supported where we're sitting. And we can notice the flexibility in our bodies, the resilience in our bodies. Maybe you can feel the movement of your rib cage as you're inhaling and exhaling. So I invite you to bring to mind someone you really love and have a really strong bonded connection to. Maybe it's a family member, maybe a friend, doesn't matter. And, we know that no people are perfect, no relationships are perfect. So I just want you to bring one person to mind that you feel really connected to, that sense of bonding. And bring to mind, if you can, some of the experiences or history or the ways that you and this other person have relied on one another. And I encourage you to really savor that. Strong bonds do not form overnight. And when those relationships are maintained, those bonds are maintained, they actually serve as part of our foundation. Relationships develop at the speed of trust. So we'll sit in silence, and I invite you to be savoring those bonds that you have forged. I invite you to slowly begin to deepen your breath a little bit, very gently. Begin to bring your attention outward. And I hope that in this week of Yesod, we can all try to become grounded in a foundation that is both firm and flexible and durable and adaptable. And as you are very slowly and gently coming back to the room, I'm going to share a poem called Showing Up by Carrie Newcomer. You are holy and sacred and utterly unique. There are gifts you were born to give, songs you were born to sing, stories you were born to tell. And if you do not give it, the world will simply lose it. It is yours alone to offer. No one can give it for you. And dearest, listen, because this is important. This wounded world needs all the songs we can pull from the air, every story that helps us to remember. It needs every single gift, large and small. And yes, dearest, this grateful world does rejoice every courageous time we are true to ourselves and our gifts. And so it is, dear heart. We embrace the song and the story and all our gifts because the world has such great need, and because the world exceedingly rejoices, and because there is no sadder thing than to leave this world never having really shown up. So I am delighted you're here. I am sorry that I failed once again to start the recording at the beginning. So I thank you for that reminder. And I will now